What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video. My first reply video, actually, and this is to a video that is in the description below. It is Maximilian's Stop Nerfing Fighting Games video. I watched this a few times the past couple of days. I have a couple of my own thoughts, and so if you're a hardcore fighting game player and visiting his channel, that you might be like, okay, why do you care about his opinion? He's a fucking scrub. And I'll be like, okay, because he doesn't pretend to be a high-level fighting game player, but you have to consider that if he's a casual, then he is saying what casuals are thinking, so we should actually talk about it and think about it. And this one is a good one because it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. It's actually come up in every single game I played except for one, which is Guilty Gear. So I want to jump into that. So this is very common and recurring. A new game's coming out, we see the trailer, everyone gets hype. We see the first interview, everyone gets sad. Why? Because the devs are like, yeah, so, one of our goals is to make it so that, new players can get into our game easier. So we have this, right? And then everyone gets mad. So the first thing is that everyone's getting mad before they even get to touch the game. And this is probably came up the most extreme in Persona 4 Arena. Persona 4 Arena was the first game I played that had auto combos. And yeah, I talked about auto combos before, but it's relevant to this. And when they announced that, people were just like, man, fuck this game. You get to mash one button, do combos, there's no DP motions, DPs are 2 buttons, blah, 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 blah. Nobody even got to touch the game. BlazBlue, actually, today is looked at as like this, a shining example of a fighting game. It's complex, many characters, like everything you want. But when the game came out, same thing. There's not enough buttons, was a legitimate complaint. There's not enough buttons, 4-button game. There's no Oki, because there was rolls and you could delay your tech, which now some games have, some games don't. And the last one was that execution was too easy, because they said before the game came out that if you hold a button, it will repeat your input for several frames. That was because this was the first fighting game ArcSys made that had real net play, because Guilty Gear didn't have net play, so they wanted to make sure people didn't drop combos. And then of course we know Dragon Ball has auto combos and easy inputs too, like Persona, and actually easier inputs because Persona has charge motions and double core circles and half circles. Dragon Ball has none of that. But all these games where people complain about easy execution, people drop shit all the time. People drop shit, or we have the classic Kazunoko isn't optimal thing where someone picks an easier thing because they don't want to mess up. You have that going on. Now, the way they actually make fighting games easier, there's 2 main ways that I see devs make fighting games easier, but it's not obvious. The obvious one is the execution is too easy, or easier, not too easy, or the buffer is bigger. So the buffer is how the game actually accepts your inputs, right? So BlazBlue, Persona, Dragon Ball has a very large buffer. Guilty Gear used to apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, have a 1-frame buffer. Now apparently it's 3. Correct me if I'm wrong though. So the thing they actually do that actually makes the game easier for new people is, so Guilty Gear is a good example because they do this. One is new characters. Guilty Gear is based off Sharp Reload. Guilty Gear Xrd based off Sharp Reload, right? So even if they are basing the game off more simple versions of the characters, because Sharp Reload characters are not as complex or have as many moves or such and such as Accent Core. Accent Core is Force Breaks, they might have got a lot of new normals and Gatlings. It's 2 versions. It goes Sharp Reload / AC. So even despite that though, the issue they have to deal with is that Guilty Gear is also a legacy game. It's an old game. So some people have never stopped playing Guilty Gear. So even the characters that are supposed to be for beginners, like Sol and Kai, they're easy to play. Easy. It doesn't change the fact that people have played them for more than 10 years or something. So you're dealing with literally years and years and years of matchup experience. It's really, really hard to overcome. I know because I played Milia and I had to do it. My classic Guilty Gear players in my region, not many people picked up Milia, and the ones who did all switched to the new characters. So I'm talking about Elfelt, Sin, Raven, Ramlethal, like those characters. Coom is another one, those characters. So what these characters do, they generally try to make them strong. Not all of them are like super strong. Answer, for example, is not good at all. But they generally try to make them strong and make sense to who they're aiming for. And it does two things at the same time. One, the character's strong, so you feel good, and you can run around, you can do stuff, you can combo off all your hits, blah, 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 blah. But two, you also make up for the time difference, because their Elfelt has never existed before. Raven has never existed before. So all that time, like, yeah, they've had game time against you, but they have to learn the matchup at the same time as you're learning the character, because the character's never existed. That's one way they do it. And usually these characters they have design philosophies that are more prevalent in other anime games than Guilty Gear, but that's a whole other discussion that I don't have to get into. The main thing is that new, strong, consistent, which is an important thing in that game, easier. The other thing they tend to do, and I think this is probably the most prevalent in Dragon Ball, it's also in Persona, so it's like a two-piece thing. One is they make anti-airs worse. Making anti-airs worse always makes it easier for new people, as new people don't know how to control their characters very well. So they're going to want to jump, they're going to want to air dash. So the main difference between P4U1, Arena, and P4U2, Ultimax, is that anti-airs are much worse in Ultimax than they were in Arena. In Arena, anti-airs are very strong. And Ultimax, anti-airs are overall, there's a couple of exceptions, weak. And then they gave all the new characters really good jump-ins, so people could run around and jump, and they could play the game. It's rough for a game like that because the risk return damage is really high in that game. So by making it easier for people to get in, they are also simultaneously forcing high risk return on both players at the same time. And this comes out in Dragon Ball too. So in Dragon Ball of course has the easy inputs, auto combos, blah blah blah. We all know that doesn't matter, right? So the thing about Dragon Ball is, one, not that many characters have good anti-airs. So yeah, there's Universal 2H, but what I mean by them not having good anti-airs is that, first of all, the only true way to actually hit somebody from jumping, right, is anti-air grab. Not that many characters have it. And out of the characters that have it, only two are being played a lot right now, and that's Android 21 and Vegito, right? That's one. Two, most people don't have like something that goes up. They don't have attacks that go up. A lot of the moves in Dragon Ball go down or horizontal, so not up. So they're encouraging you to jump. Three, you can float, you can directional influence. So you can super jump, we've seen it a lot. You super jump, weave back and forth, right? So this makes it even harder to anti-air because you're trying to follow it with your eyes and you're trying to make a choice like, when should I hit the button? Should I even hit the button? As you may know from my just 2H or Super Dash bro. And finally, they have an approach button, Super Dash, that also simultaneously changes your air momentum to screw up your anti-air. Anti-air is really hard in this game, and when anti-air is weak, it helps new people a lot. Because remember, level 1 of fighting games is Street Fighter, don't jump because they're going to anti-air you. They're going to do it. So these things, and especially in Dragon Ball, these things about the jumping, anti-air, lead into a thing where Dragon Ball has a lot of situations that are like -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, +1, +2. That spectrum, where you can't actually get a mix-up, but you can guess on what the opponent's going to do, and if you guess right, if you're willing to take a big risk, you get a big return. Guessing is not necessarily what makes games easier because, you know, everyone can guess, but it's the frequency. It's the frequency. A lot of games end up becoming like kind of structured. They follow like this neutral offense, defense, knockdown pattern, like winning pattern. But Dragon Ball is not as common because when you get knocked down in Dragon Ball, you have a lot of wake-up options too. So the guessing is more frequent in that game, and excuse me, guessing is more frequent in that game. I actually blanked out. Wow. Guessing is more frequent in that game, and the risk return is really high. So you get a lot of damage when you're right, and it really helps new people. Because, again, like I said, you can't anti-air, so you can't win with, like, oh, my spacing and positioning is that much better than yours. And also, there's not that many guaranteed situations. Notice how they keep taking away level 3 knockdown into high-low solo character. Snap is a thing, yes, but you only get one mix-up, and it's not the initial character, right? So you have to either win or mitigate this consistent guessing, I'm slightly advantageous, I'm slightly negative situation. And guessing, raw guessing, definitely evens the playing field for players. So that's how I feel like they actually make games easier, not what people say about execution and stuff. No matter what, like, yeah, there's actually truly hard shit. Like, there's like one frame FRC in Guilty Gear AC, one frame links Street Fighter, one frame links in Vampire Savior, blah blah blah. But no matter what, people are going to drop shit, so it's never about execution, really. It's about, like, how the game is actually played is the big thing. So, the last thing I want to talk about, I guess, is the sale, because the sale does matter, you know. The sale does matter a lot. And honestly, that's just content and characters, and I've said this a lot, you've heard me say this on the stream. I kind of feel like the future of fighting games is just honestly what ArcSys is kind of doing right now. Just they can make an anime horizontal and make the characters fight. Let's take popular anime and make the anime characters fight, and that works. Or in the case of NRS, let's make DC characters fight each other. Let's make our old franchise Mortal Kombat, let's make them fight again. Marvel, why did Marvel Infinite fail? Probably the biggest thing, because people tell me the game's good. I don't like versus games really, but people tell me the game is good. Probably the biggest thing is the characters people didn't want were not there. Wow. The characters people wanted were not there. And I think that's the point that Maximilian makes the best. But the hard part for devs, I guess, is they just have to dance on this line of, like, making people happy before they even get to touch the game, and making the game good and fun and played for a long time, because all the tournaments, all the esports shit, it's just marketing, honestly. It's all marketing. Like, anything, any attention a studio gets or a game gets, like, 3 years out from a game, it's just free marketing. So it's a really tough line to balance, and I want to kind of circle back and end this by talking about Grand Blue Fantasy, because he did touch on this game, and he's on the team up. There's not enough stuff to do. The game is too simple, and I'm on the team up. I think that game might be really good. Actually, really good. And you can see the difference in our perspective of fighting games, because he wants more complexity, he wants more movement and stuff, but the type of complexity that level or that mid-level might want is like a forced complexity. Like, you just want all this stuff, like super ultra blue cancel and mega red deny cancel and dream cancel and all that shit. But that game, I could already see how clearly, you know, they want it to be played a certain way. They definitely want it to be a traditional game, and I look for the nuance of things. So, for example, here's a really quick example to end this video. Take EXDPs, right? Let's say you bait someone's EXDP. That game has cooldowns on special moves, right? So, if you bait someone's EXDP, they can't DP again. And that choice means way more. You have to think very carefully about using your moves, since it's attached to cooldown and not meter. It could turn out that the game's really scrubby, but from the 15 hours I played in the beta, I liked it a lot. It rewarded neutral, it rewarded my presence, it rewarded my reactions a lot, it rewarded my ability to establish myself rather than just do things. Hopefully this made sense to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. Maybe I'll make a part 2 to this. There's another video from my good friend SKD about establishment versus application that matters for this video, so definitely watch it. I'll put it in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.